All right, so y'all, this is a problem out of 1.8. It's one of the homework problems out of 1.6. And it's talking about how do I solve this equation here, okay? So if I'm trying to solve this equation, y'all, this is one of those equations that's kind of in quadratic form, okay? So one thing I want to mention, y'all, this is an x to the fourth. So, y'all, I want to understand that at the very end, y'all, I'm going to end up with 4 answers, okay? Because it's an x to the fourth, I should get 4 answers. Now, the way we're going to approach this, y'all, we're going to use that idea of the u substitution. So we're going to say u equals x squared. So that means that u squared would be x to the fourth. Now, the reason why we're doing this, y'all, is we're going to come back to this problem and we're going to rewrite it. But everywhere we have an x squared, we're going to write a u. And everywhere we got an x to the fourth, we're going to write a u squared. So look, I'm going to have a u squared minus an 8u minus 20 equals 0. Remember, all I did is if there was an x squared, I replaced it with a u. If there was an x to the fourth, I replaced it with a u squared, all right? So let's go ahead and do this, y'all. Remember, the number in front of that u squared is a 1, so this should be one of those easy breezy CoverGirl factoring problems for us to do, okay? So look, y'all, I'm looking for 2 numbers that multiply to a negative 20, okay? So I'm going to make a list, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Now, I do need to get a negative 20 here, y'all. So in these pairs of numbers, one of them is going to have to be negative so that when I multiply, I get a negative 20. I want my numbers, though, y'all, to add up to a negative 8. So if I pick a positive 2 and a negative 10, remember what this means. I have $2. If I owe you 10 and I pay you, I still owe you 8. So look, I'm going to put a plus 2 right here and a minus 10 right there, okay? Now, when I set each part equal to 0, u plus 2 equals 0, and u minus 10 equals 0, and I move that 2 over, I'm going to get u equals 2, negative 2, I'm sorry, and I'm going to get u equals 10. But remember what we said, u was x squared. So look, y'all, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to say x squared equals negative 2, and x squared equals positive 10. In order for me to solve for x, y'all, I got to take the square root on both sides, okay? So look, the square and the square root will cancel each other out. Since I have a negative inside, y'all, that I is coming out. Now, I don't know what the square root of 2 is. I can't break down 2, so that 2 is going to stay there. And I still have my plus and minus right here. Okay, same thing over here. Look, y'all, x and x squared, that square and that square root are going to cancel each other out. Okay. Now, 10. I can break down 10, but it's only 2 and 5. Remember, the only way numbers can come out, y'all, is if there's a pair of them, but there's only 1, 2. There's only 1, 5. So I can't break that down either. Now, y'all, I want to mention something. When you're entering your answers in MyLab, you don't have to write the x equals. You can just write plus or minus I square root of 2, comma, plus or minus the square root of 10. Y'all, just as a heads up, there are 2 answers right here. One of them is I square root of 2. The other one is negative I square root of 2. There's 2 answers right here. One of them is the square root of 10. The other one is the negative square root of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4 answers, right? You can list all 4 like this if you want to, or you can write it like that. But those are my 4 answers. And if you remember, we said we were going to get 4 answers, okay? If y'all got questions, let me know.